Hello, this is the fourth virtual cooking challenge recipe, and I'm Nick Saint-Erne, or in the SCA, I'm known as Nicholas de Navarre of the Kingdom of Atenveld. And today we're going to make a polenta custard, so to speak. And a polenta is a dish of northern Italy. It refers to a porridge or mush made from coarsely ground meal, made in the past with farro, chestnuts, millet, spelt, or chickpeas, and now commonly made with yellow cornmeal. Farro polenta is said to have fed the Roman legions. This recipe is from the book Platina, on right pleasure and good health, published in Rome, Italy in 1465. And the recipe goes, polenta, or as it is commonly called, millesium. What they commonly call millesium, we more rightly call polenta, or barley meal. It will be made thus for 4 or 5 guests. Grind a pound of absolutely fresh cheese until it becomes converted into milk. To this, add or mix 8 or 10 eggs, well beaten with a paddle, half a pound of sugar, 3 or 4 ounces of meal, or in place of this, softened bread crumbs. Then put this in a pot, well greased with fat without a crust, and take care that it is cooked suitably with coals placed below and above. Put sugar and rose water into what has been cooked and transfer into a serving dish or round platter. Let Hirtius not lap this up, because he takes away much of our sleep with his cry because of his violent pain in his sides.
Here's a modern package of polenta you can buy, labeled as corn grits, also known as polenta. Corn grits are simply coarsely ground bits of dried corn. They have long been a traditional staple of both northern Italy and the American South that are usually cooked and eaten as hot porridge, or cooked then slightly cooled until firm and sliced into squares. This recipe only calls for 3 or 4 ounces of meal, in this case barley meal, but it also would allow the use of dried breadcrumbs to use as a thickener. So this is not really a true polenta, which is just the meal with water and cooked, but is more of a dessert type polenta. Here are 8 eggs. They will be beaten together, then added into the creamed cottage cheese. So I'm incorporating the 8 eggs, which makes about 1.5 cups, into the 2 cups of the creamed cottage cheese. And then this will be mixed together. To the egg and cottage cheese mixture, now I'm adding 1/2 pound of sugar, which is a little bit more than a cup, so a very rounded cup of sugar. Because of the egg and the cheese and the sugar, this will be more like a custard. The final ingredient for the batter is 4 ounces or 1/2 cup of barley meal. I used pearl barley, which means the bran layer has been removed from the grain, and then I coarsely ground it with a mortar and pestle. This will make a sweet dish which will be nice to finish off a feast.
In a pot, well greased with fat without a crust, and take care that it is cooked suitably with coals placed below and above. I'm going to place the filling now into the pie dish to then cook it into the Dutch oven. Be sure to not let Hirtius lap this up, because he takes away much of our sleep with his cry because of the violent pain in his side. So I have my polenta in a dish inside of the Dutch oven. I'm going to place this over the coals. Make sure it's fairly level. Put the lid on. Now I have to transfer coals from the bottom to the top. So I'll do that using this. We need about 20 coals on top and about 10 on the bottom. Spread the ones on the bottom around a little bit. And the ones on the top. Now we'll let that cook and periodically rotate the pot so the heat gets evenly dispersed on the bottom, and rotate the lid so it gets dispersed on the top. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes, give it a stir, and rotate the pot. So it's been a little over 30 minutes total, and when I check it now, it comes out pretty solid and it doesn't wiggle. So I think we might be done. It's very firm, so I'm going to take this off the fire now, and we'll have to let it cool before we can take it out of the Dutch oven. And I'm going to just take a little bit of this out and give it a try. It's fairly firm and bready. Has a harder consistency than a custard. I can still taste the grain. It has a sweetened flavor because of the amount of sugar. And it's essentially like a pancake or a omelet with the egg and the cheese and the barley meal. It would be good for a breakfast or possibly a dessert for a feast because it is sweet and it has a soft consistency. I hope you make this at home and like it. Thank you.